Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am glad to be here, and I'm grateful to be here. And where's here? Home in my office. And I'm here with my virtual assistant. You can see her right back there, the black canister that's there. And good morning, Alexis. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning.
Alexa, what's the weather like today?
Currently, in Leiden it's 27 degrees with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect lots of clouds, with a high of 31 and a low of 16.
Alexa, how are you today?
I'm good. I hope you're doing well too.
Thank you. Alexa, when is the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl 50 is this Sunday, airing on CBS at 4:30 p.m. The Broncos will play the Panthers.
Alexa, thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, there we are, interacting again, humans and machines coming together. Last week I had the opportunity to attend Abundance 360. And to me, that's a very serious experience. I don't know how to call it anything else other than that. And also for me, it was a game changer. For the first time, I went in prepared. You know, Abundance 360 is a 25-year commitment. They're going to do it every year for the next 25 years, bring together the world's experts in such things as artificial intelligence, robotics, sensors, 3D printing, material science. We learned that we saw actually metal, we saw metal stronger than steel that's 99.999% air. Virtual and augmented reality, the ability for us to be able to go to virtual meetings and have virtual experiences that replicate all of the senses anywhere in the world, to actually be in a virtual meeting and shake people's hands and feel it. I mean, the technology that's coming is mind-blowing. Global economy, what's happening there, biomedicine, genetics, longevity, bringing the world's greatest experts, putting them on the stage and having them have an interchange of ideas right there in front of us. I left there just absolutely blown away. But the difference for me this time is I went in with an empowering question. Understand that knowing that change is happening so fast, exponentially. Last time I talked to you about 100 years ago. Let's just refresh some of those things. Recall I said 100 years ago, the average male in the United States lived to be age 47. 100 years ago, only 14% of the homes had bathtubs. 100 years ago, only 8% of the homes had telephones. 100 years ago, you bought your fuel for your car at the drugstore. 100 years ago, at that same drugstore, over the counter, you could buy heroin or morphine. 100 years ago, the average wage was 22 cents an hour. 100 years ago, 95% of all births were in the home. 100 years ago, 90% of all doctors did not have a degree. Well, all of that change has happened in just 100 years. We had the opportunity to sit down with Ray Kurzweil, that Google calls the greatest futurist that's ever lived. Forbes says he's the Edison of our today. He's just an amazing man with amazing credentials and amazing history of being able to predict the future. And he said, thinking about everything that we've accomplished in the last 100 years, if we look forward 100 years, then multiply the last 100 years by 20,000. And I'm convinced of this. You know, I came in now, when I've left in the previous two events that I've attended, last year and the year before, I left a little bit with an attitude of scarcity. I was afraid of what was going on. Now, I leave with this, I'm a little bit worried about the abundance. I'm convinced that we live in an abundant world with abundant opportunities, abundant financial and economic opportunities for those that are aware and those that are staying on top of it. And that was the emphasis of it, to show and demonstrate to us the changes that are happening. When you listen to these leaders in all these different areas, exchanging what's going to happen and correcting each other by showing how much faster they're going to happen just in the next 15 years. The changes are going to be unbelievable. Think what's happened with Airbnb. Think what's happened with Uber. Airbnb, the largest hotel chain in the world, doesn't own a hotel chain. Your industry is going to be dematerialized. And all of these changes are going to affect us. So I left from there. First of all, I went in with the question. And the question was, from my perspective, what can I take away from this that will benefit me and that'll benefit the planet and society going forward. I'm not an expert in technology. I'm not an expert in what a lot of the people there were experts in. So what was my question? My question was, can I attract the right knowledge? Can I attract the right relationships? Can I attract the right opportunities while I'm there, okay, that will help strengthen family leaders, to help strengthen leaders throughout the planet, to better stabilize their families so that they can better stabilize society as society is disrupted by all of the change and the chaos that's happening as a result of the exponential growth in technology, in medicine and science and the global economy. And so with that question in mind, I left there with absolutely feeling excited about the abundant future, and also a deep sense of responsibility and a deep sense of stewardship to focus in on family leadership and how we can strengthen the family. One thing I know for sure as a result of being there, one thing I'm absolutely certain of, is that this change is real. I'm certain that the change is not only real, but it's going to be happening faster than any of us can imagine. I'm also certain of the fact that change is disruptive. And I'm also certain that disruption creates instability. And ultimately, if we're not careful, I mean, think about the internet, and all this change brings about wonderful ways to access abundance, but at the same time, there's the negative and the challenging part of it. What used to be, when I was a kid, we'd have to go out and search to get into trouble. Now you can bring bad things to you right at the tips of your fingertips. That's a challenge that we have as parents and as leaders and in families, is knowing that our children can get into trouble right here, instantaneously. And with all of the great technology, with virtual reality and everything that's happening, the stability of the family to preserve society is something that's at the core and is extremely important for us to be able to move forward. And so I left with the understanding that, one, change is real, change is happening fast. It's disruptive, and disruptive creates instability, and that we have a responsibility to bring stability back to society. Can we use the very technology that we're talking about, the very technology that is being focused in on economic opportunities, can we use that to bring stability to our future? And I think we have to. I think we have to create a voice for those of us that have put faith and family first over all of this change, that still want to be involved in it, but to use it in the right way. Can we develop an association of like-minded thinkers, of those that have the empowered wealth mindset, of faith and family first, to be able to provide the stability? When they tell you that your children, because of censors, will not be able to lie to you in the future, in the very near future, that alarms me, because my children deserve the right to lie. Otherwise, if they can't lie, if they don't understand that, how do we teach them to tell the truth? How do we teach them to recognize the truth? How do we deal with true principles? And ladies and gentlemen, we have to have a voice. We must have a voice as all of this chaos is unfolding. We have to have a voice in our political, our economic, our social, and our religious systems. We have to have a voice there that allows us to be heard. If we don't, that chaos could overwhelm us and could overwhelm families. And if it overwhelms families, say amen to society, say amen to our civilization as we know it. So one of the questions that I asked Peter Diamandis before I left was, Peter, what's not going to change over the next 25 years? And he said, wow, great question. And he called over his assistant, his project manager, Marissa. He said, Marissa, come here. He says, make sure that's on the agenda for next time. So what is not going to change over the next 25 years is the perspective of looking at how can we stabilize those things that value most, the virtuous principles and concepts and values that families bring to the table, and how do we organize them and put them together and have a voice. I have to tell you, I am committed to do that. I left with an overwhelming conviction that it's important that we organize these like-minded thinkers, put us together so that we can share great ideas, so that if we so that we can learn from each other how we do teach our children human consciousness, and how do we do then these true values and true principles, how do we teach them to tell the truth in an environment that's going to be where everything is all-knowing at any time, anywhere, the internet of anything, everywhere, and with no latency. It's going to be exciting times. I'm grateful that I was there. I'm grateful that the understanding that I had while I was there. I'm grateful for the relationships that were established. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I see, and I'm grateful for the increased knowledge that I have. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you and learning from you. Let's move forward. Let's create that. Let's create that organization, that unit together where we can share. Let's have a voice. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.